Good morning, yet good evening, and welcome to our headquarters here at Bar Lake State Park. Thank you so much for joining us. It's really hard to not get to see and have conversations with you like we would normally do at the Denver Museum of Nature and Science, but thanks for going virtual. And because of our virtual event, we can have so many more people tuning in with us. We have folks from California to Florida to Michigan, Colorado, and beyond, so welcome. Maybe you just joined us this year, or you've been with us for 5 years, 10 years, or since the beginning 32 years ago. What's always been important is people. It takes the power of people working together to make conservation happen. As we were headed into 2020, that clarity of vision, we also wanted to get back to our roots of bald eagles. When we started here 32 years ago, we were monitoring one nest out of 10 across the state of Colorado. So when you think about the biology of raptors, from eagles to other raptors, they've got 20/20 clear vision. They can see far, they can see into the future. So it was a perfect marriage. Then our world got changed a little bit in the spring. That clarity got a little blurry and a little dark. So that's been a challenge. And I know all of you have been experiencing these hard times. We feel you, and we felt it too. Thank you for helping us persevere in these challenging times, because at the end of the day, the mission of conserving birds and their habitats can't stop. We've got rigorous scientific monitoring data for decades that we couldn't just stop and pause for a year. We have relationships with landowners that we can't just put on hold, because it takes those conversations to build the trust and make meaningful conservation impacts on the ground. Also, we really want to inspire and engage in nature. And when you think about what provided your respite these last several months, it's been nature. So despite the chaos, think about what birds were doing. They brought us hope. They kept doing what they've normally done for the millennia. And we were able to maybe take advantage and hear them a little more, see them a little more, and be inspired by having them in our backyards. So we really knew we needed to engage in nature. We needed to provide that hope. We needed to provide that respite. It was hard though. We had to cancel programs. We had campers texting each other, getting excited for camp coming, and now they couldn't get together. It was a financial burden too. We couldn't do the programs that normally help fuel and fund our education. Plus, our educators, they love to bring nature and people together. So now that people part was becoming a mystery. But they're resilient, they're brilliant, and they said, we can do this. So we went virtual, and we started engaging people and immersing them in nature through different ways. We had Facebook, we had virtual programs, we had people tuning in across Colorado, from California to Sweden and Mexico. If you were able to participate in a program, give us a thumbs up in the chat. And thanks so much for tuning in. Also during this time, this is the time, as we said, birds are migrating. It's the time we've got to get out in the field. And we had some tough decisions to make. Is it the right thing to do? Can we do this safely? So we had a task force of partners, and we thought about it, and we put measures in place, including having technicians quarantine before they come, get all their supplies before they showed up, and take rigorous efforts to keep the people safe, the community safe. And as we were ready to gear up, the states were starting to open up, the birds were migrating, and it came together for us to get in the field and to do it right. Report no COVID cases, 23,000 birds recorded across 15 different states. So the science, now it's analyzing, it's interpreting, it's making sure we're making that data available to inform future and conservation, because that science is the foundation of what we do. We were also very fortunate when we started 2020 to secure the largest foundation grant we've ever secured, to really bring our science and our stewardship together. We also are fortunate that we were able to add 2 biologists in Southeast Colorado, and they're just coming on. Southeast Colorado has a lot of conservation reserve program land, and those acres are expiring, and they're not eligible for re-enrollment because of caps. So we're finding creative ways and working with biologists and landowners to keep that land grass side up. We can't afford to lose more grass. We also were really important in advancing our scientific efforts. We have been talking about trying to better understand individual movements of birds across this landscape, pinpointing those breeding grounds to those stopover habitats, to those wintering grounds, And we've been busy putting up MODIS stations, and you can bid on a permanent naming right for a MODIS station up at Soapstone Natural Area. So we're advancing the science, we're charging forward, we've adjusted, we've adapted. So now tonight, it's about focusing on the beyond. 2020 will come to a close, and we need your help leaving 2020 strong and heading into 2021 ready to continue to advance our mission. So Beyond happens here. It starts right here in our backyards. We were fortunate to receive an Adams County open space grant, and while we didn't have as many people here because of COVID, we are transforming, putting in a buffalo sod grass, putting in and bringing our backyard guide to birds to life with different demonstration gardens, and really taking that message of a healthy home for birds is a healthy home for all of us and showcasing it right here. We miss the people here, but we're looking forward and we're enjoying the birds and the butterflies, and next year we'll have more people too. And as you know, birds need our help. They're in decline. Our avian conservation scientist, Arvind Punjabi, was one of the lead scientists on the paper in Science that for the first time ever quantified this loss, 3 billion birds in 50 years. Whether it's in your backyard, what you buy at the grocery store, every choice you make can make a positive difference for people and the land. People are key. When people came together to change laws, we saved our eagles and our other raptors. When people committed to conserving our wetlands and investing resources, we changed the plight of those waterfowl. Conservation requires the power of people. It also requires a new conservation paradigm. It will not take an individual effort to do this. It takes a community approach to do this. We're doing great things, but at the end of the day, we're on different roads. We're on different highways. We're overlapping. We're creating noise. Now we need to streamline, get on the same page, and move conservation forward in a new paradigm. We've been working diligently since July. We had 150 organizations, nearly 300 individuals contributing to this roadmap to save our grasslands, to identify what are the greatest priorities we need to do to make that roadmap come to life, and to ultimately get to the measures we're striving for. These include a campaign for our grasslands. People don't understand how important our grasslands are to our daily lives, the water we drink, to the air we breathe, to the carbon sequestration it provides, to the food that we eat. We need to commit to at least 100 million acres protected, restored, improved of grassland habitat, and we need to come together and find at least $1 billion to make this happen over the next decade, so we can change the plight of our grassland birds, the plight of our human communities, and make sure that people can enjoy the natural and cultural heritage of our grasslands for generations to come. So again, 2020 has been an interesting year. There's been a lot of bright spots, but there's also been challenges. We have had less funding, and we've had to let some people go coming into 2020. Our government funding has been down. We also don't have big programs with big program fees, so that's affected us. We also are seeing a reduction in the Scientific Cultural Facilities District and the tax revenue that's so important to us. So luckily this spring, we were successful in securing a payroll protection plan loan with TBK Bank that really helped us be resilient and get through these last several months. But unfortunately that loan came to an end at the end of September. So now, more than ever, we need you to help diversify and increase our support, to make us strong as we end 2020 and get into 2021. Your support helps us continue to be leaders in bird conservation, to be that catalyst, to be that convener, to be resilient and nimble during these uncertain times, to enhance our virtual capacities, protect our long-term data, and make sure we can function and work remotely wherever we are as we go forward. You also help support our education and our educators, and making sure that we can continue to connect, inspire, engage, and immerse people of all ages in nature. You help make sure we can get the latest technology, advanced science, whether it's through the MODIS towers, the transmitters, or geolocators. It's critical to always have science as our core foundation for our mission. And you also help make sure we can continue those conversations with landowners. Those conversations are critical to building the trust, the relationships, to ultimately helping improve habitat in partnership with private landowners to make them healthier, more sustainable for human communities and wildlife. So get those bid numbers up. Let's have some fun. Let's get beyond 2020. Help us achieve a better world for people, birds, and land. And thank you. Those glasses on. Let's look at a different world. Let's see a new 2021. And let's raise some bills for birds. Thank you.
Birds are part of our lives. They fill the air with song, inspire us with their beauty, and make their homes in the most unexpected places. Sometimes they're even our neighbors. But the birds we love are vanishing. An alarming new study reveals that the population of North American birds has dropped nearly 30% since 1970. That's almost 3 billion birds gone, vanished from our forests, grasslands, and backyards in less than the span of a human lifetime. Some of the hardest hit are familiar birds: orioles, meadowlarks, swallows, warblers. What's driving this decline? Birds are losing the habitats they need, places to live, find food, rest, and raise their young. They face many other threats as well, from free-roaming cats and collisions with glass to toxic pesticides and insect declines. Climate change will compound all of these problems and accelerate the loss of habitats birds need. This enormous loss of birds signals a broader crisis in the natural world, one that ultimately affects us all. But it's not too late. Our actions on behalf of birds make a positive difference and benefit the entire planet. Thanks to strong conservation efforts and habitat management, many waterfowl and formerly endangered species are now flourishing. It's time to expand these conservation efforts to help the rest of our birds recover too. With our help, they can be restored as a vital part of the American landscape and a precious part of our lives. We're united in pursuing better protections and increased support for birds. And you can help. Please join us.